Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you do me a solid. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Well on the way to our target, which is 10,000. And we're about to clock 3.5, which is mighty impressive from where we were when we started the Road to 3,000 challenge at the bye. So I can't thank you enough for the support. You're all legends and legendesses in my book. And if you want to become a member, we are doing a giveaway on the 4th of March. Members only stream. We'll chit chat and we'll digest the practice games together as a fraternity. We're doing a giveaway though of any sports Guernsey of your choice. We'll cap it though, because I don't want anyone to say a Lionel Messi World Cup shirt. So just a regular shirt. So let me know if you're in the comments. We'll do a live raffle draw type thing. Link is in the description. Do that. If you are listening to us over the audio waves on a podcast, all right, how are you doing? Enjoy your walk and let's get into it. We are looking at the Saints. So the Saints are a side that I wouldn't say second team because can't stand people who have a second team, but they are probably the closest I have to a second team because I have an affinity with them because I'm married, a Saints girl. So Saints fans, A grade, in my opinion, to be honest. But let's have a look at how I see their 22 and 4-1 to watches. Let's have a look. So we've gone with the full back line. We've got Ben Patton. We've got Dougal Howard, fantastic name. And we've got Zane Corby here. And I think it's going to be quite tall. There's a caveat to this. This is a round 122, not the best 22. So chill your beans if you're going to abuse me. But we've got a few outs. We've got no Max King, no Matty Allison. We've got no Hayes. We've got no DMAC. We've got no Jonesy. We've got no Billings. We've got no Connolly. We've got no McLennan. We've got no Keeler. And Otten is dead. And I've managed to remove the first letter of every one of them words. So it is going to be quite a tall backline. And I want you to bear with me because I've got a reason at the end and it'll make sense. But I like this. I think Dougal Howard is one of the most underrated players in the comp. I really like the way he goes about his work, to be honest. I don't know what Saints fans feel, but definitely someone that I think they need. Now, it's going to be interesting because their preseason has kind of been bad as it stands, and I don't want to read too much into the practice games. But that injury list, you can't get away from it, can you? I mean, it's a horrific injury, and I'm a Carlton fan, so I know my way around an injury list. But I think this is fairly solid. It's not exciting, but it defends. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, I'm a big advocate of defenders. I don't mind it. Now, Jimmy Webster, probably stiff not to be there. I was between him and Patton, but I think that's fairly solid. And I think Corby and Howard allows our other tall that's coming into it to play a bit more of an intercepting role, which is the most in vogue thing in football, isn't it? Having two talls and then the third oscillating as a rotation. Probably the first suppliers I've gone with Brad Hill back at halfback flank. I really like this. And I was looking at this backline. I was thinking if I was Ross, and I try and pick these teams as if I was coach per se, I think it needs some zip. So I think Brad Hill and Sinclair, I think that's terrifying, to be honest. And I think you've got some young kids there that I think can play the wing role. Give him that break. Rotate him through the wing. But I think for starting off Battle is pretty good. Now, I expect Josh Battle to rotate forward because there is no forwards. So there's a problem for St Kilda with having to manufacture height. So as a Carlton fan who lived through 2018, we frothed height. So I know my way about manufacturing height. Josh Battle, I think, is very solid defensively. He takes a grab well. Strong one-on-one. Decent as well. I watched him in the practice game and you rotated just about anyone above the size of 190 in the forward line, in the full forward position. So it's going to be interesting, but I think Battle, for me, looked the better of them. I do like his kicking action as well, for what it's worth. Sinclair, A grade. One of the best in the league, in my opinion. Top 3 in his position. And I do think Brad Hill, he gives that transition. Transition is the in vogue phrase of the AFL at the moment. And it's I'm trying to think like Ross here, and Ross doesn't really froth a bit of transition, but I think with my wings, we can fabricate quite a potent layer of the Saints. And here we are, the centre line. Got Wanganeen Milwera, who for me is terrific. Absolutely quality footballer. I love everything about Wanganeen, and I'm excited about this year. And I think he's going to get more of a ball-using role, but he's really composed for someone so young. I thought that shone last year. I love the way he's really direct, and that was something with Ratton's game plan. It was kind of really direct, wasn't it? And I suspect that when you watch Ross, there's always a misunderstanding that he's really defensive. He is kind of plays the percentages. So I suspect the wings are going to get a bit of a workout. And that's why next to him I've gone with Wood. Very in vogue at the moment for AFL teams to play a tall wing. Now, Mason Wood, in my opinion, at North was more of that third tall, second tall at times. I think the wing role at St Kilda has been absolutely phenomenal. And I think when you look at the guys we've got in that back line that we've put in there, having him work the arcs as the outlet ball allows us to leave a forward, which we don't have in this 22. We've manufactured them to stay in the goal square. And I think if you are battling the goal square for a time, that's all right on the outlet ball. And then Jack Steele, I'm really excited about this guy. And I'm really hot on him this year because I think St Kilda, in my honest opinion, they're going to be the bottom 8. The bottom 8. So that's 18 to 10, isn't it? All right. And that's not being harsh. I want you to do better. Don't come at me. But I do think that they are. And I think Jack Steele is going to absolutely thrive on that primary role. We saw Cripper do it. We've seen players do it of all clubs when they're rubbish or not doing the success. I think Steely is going to be terrific this year and really look out for him. This is where I get excited, right? We're going to talk about one of these gentlemen here. Big friend of the Pommy and Oz channel and a big friend I am of him. I'm a big fan of Matthias Philippou, but we'll come to him later. Marcus Windhager on one of the flanks. I absolutely love Windhager. If you are familiar with early Pommy and Oz content, we actually signed Marcus Windhager in our AFL Evo series when we were at Carlton. We dodged the NGA for him. Terrific footballer. I love how hard he works up the ground, almost as an auxiliary midfielder, allowing him to flood the midfield, which is an archetype of Rossi's game plan. Tim Membry, the way he works really high up the ground, really going to be a good outlet ball, works up that wing as well, so I can see us protecting the wings in this system with Membry and Wood and pushing them back to try and get the ball back on a transition and go forward. And Matthias Philippou, I have put so much on this kid winning the Rising Star. It's obscene. $15 it's paying out. Easy money. Matthias Philippou is an absolute A-grade talent. I ain't hearing anything about it. People called him arrogant, cocky. Confidence when you're as good as him. Took his goal well. I really enjoyed his practice game. Thought he did a lot of things that you probably want what rewarded. Very similar role to Shizo. In a way, Shizo got the free onions. Matthias didn't. But in my opinion, he gets in all the right spaces. He's a crafty footballer. He's got the smarts. He looks ready-made as well. That kick was pretty special as well. He did that with ease. He's got big boot on him, and he's not scared of that. And that mark he took, terrific mark. This kid puts on size. It's going to be in the top 5 players in the league by 2026. There you are. A-grade. Full forward line. Got some real big battlers here. We've got Higgins and Butler. I expect big things of these, and the ball is going to come in here. Now, early entries are a staple, and a deep entry at that of Ross's game plan. And Butler and Higgins should be beneficiaries of that. They're very, very crafty footballers in and around the fall of the ball. Gone Cooper Sharman. Got a younger-ish kid, more inexperienced. I think he'll get the opportunity first. I think there's a few players we could have picked. I'm going to be totally honest, but I've gone with Sharman. I really like what Sharman's done in the last year. I thought there was signs there. And I think just playing him at that full forward with the protection, there is quite a lot of experience in this forward line. They can guide him, and all he's got to do is be a body. Not expecting 50, 60 goals, but I think what people are talking about is this third tall as well being rotated off the pine is really important. I'd imagine Rowan Marshall is going to have to help out in the forward line at some point as well. It's going to be interesting how they make that work. I'm very interested in what goes on this year with Saints because I want them to do well, like I say, but I think Cooper Sharman deserves his opportunity. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I'll say this now, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Saints surprise a lot of people in the terms of they won't be as negative as you think. I think players like Cooper Sharman are going to take this opportunity and really go. And we saw Sharman and Membry, they pinch hit in the ruck. He's got probably, 6 or 7 games max until Max King comes back. Max King slots into there. That looks a real tasty forward line, in my opinion. But real important battle scars for Cooper's going to get here. That'll pay you back down the track. Gets tasty here, though, doesn't it? Ron Marshall. I'm really bullish on this kid this year. A lot of talk about Luke Jackson. I see a lot of Luke Jackson in what Ron Marshall does. Been niggled by injuries last year. We're looking for that next player to really step up in the ruck department. Tim English hasn't quite hit the straps, but I do really rate him. Riley O'Brien's got the body. We're waiting for that dominance. Grundy and Gawn, who have been 2 of the staples, and Jared Witts, who's one of the most underrated rucks in the competition, has been for the last decade. Marshall's got game and can slot forward, and I'm really intrigued to see how this works. I'm a big fan of him. And Crouch and Gresham. Gresham, I have a feeling he's going to surprise. He's always been that player that's probably on the precipice of being like your mid-4, mid-5. He's got talent, and I think he's going to have to do it here. And I think Crouch is going to really unlock something here. I'm a big fan of Brad Crouch. Last year, got, 27 touches. It wasn't by his standards where he's accumulating the ball. They play a lot more of a ball retentive type game style. So I'm really expecting him to do it again. He was dominant in tackles as well last year. So he really suits the physicality. And I don't think Brad Crouch gets enough respect, in my opinion. I think that's a really solid combination. And I can see you kind of maybe replicating what Carlton did with George Hewitt and Kennedy here between these two and allowing Steele more freedom. Because I think Steele is a game changer, where people didn't think that about Cripps at one stage. Looking at the interchange bench, then we've gone with Michito Owens, a big fan of this kid. This kid can play ball. He's a very, very crafty customer, utilizes his space, and he's got real good spatial awareness. That's one of them things that you really do see about him and how he goes about his work. He's got just the 6 or 7 games, wasn't it, last year? 190, good size. I loved his tackle pressure, though, and I think he's the natural heir apparent to someone like Dan Butler. I've gone with Burnsy as well. I'm a big fan of this kid. This kid here has impressed me as the years have gone on with the year has gone on. I think he's knocking down by reports, isn't he? He's knocking it down in your preseason. Incredible engine. Do you know what I mean? He's got a real little good speed he really takes off. And when he gets out there, I see a lot of like Tuck Miller as well when he's around the forward stoppages, particularly from Sandy. And I think that this is going to be that progression of that forward mid that we're looking for. So I'm really excited about seeing Ryan. I think he'll be good. Got Nick Caulfield, the old pair of slippers, isn't he? Seems to be around forever. Caulfield, I think with the way that we're playing in that forward line, we're having to fabricate an extra bit of height and a rotation. It was stiff. I tried to think of it, but he's really solid. He's a real reliable player, and he's that perfect sizing, that 190, where he can be just in and around the smaller guys, but also influence the medium guys. And I like this guy, do you know what I mean? Because he's so strong aerially and interceptorly. And then we've gone Callum Wilkie. I always think Cal Wilkie is one of them footballers that you don't really think about, do you? But he does his job really well. Again, he's that awkward size 190, elite at marks. And no one talks about this, but real strong, especially when he's undersized, being able to peel off his man. And what he does really well is he engages early with his forward and almost leads them to the ball as opposed to being led to the ball. I really like this. Bit of leadership as well because he was captain, wasn't he, last year? I can't remember who it was. Was it Lions? but also got that leadership. So I think they need that, and it allows battle to go forward. But that is my starting 22. Let me know, Sainters, what you're thinking. If I'm on the money, what you'd change. And then the ones to watch, Hunter Clark. This is his year, and it has to be his year, doesn't it? He's been around so long. By now, he should be in them upper echelons. And it's just injury and setback after setback. We talked about manufacturing a little bit of zip to help Sinclair. Hunter Clark's it. I love him. Big booming kick, which complements Sinclair. More of a meters gained footballer, in my opinion, than Sinclair, which would allow Sinclair to be them 1-2 and play them conduits. Like Windhager loves them 1-2s, getting the ball back. Why we had him high half forward. So does Wangani Milwera. So I'm a big fan. The other guy we got here is Kamiti. This kid here can play football. Now, it was probably stiff that I wasn't in there, but watch him at Northern Knights. I wouldn't say he's a carbon copy, but you can see the Max King similarities per se. He's more of that. High energy, very good aerobic, very athletic. Kicking technique can be a bit comme ça, but it's pretty talented footballer. And a footballer that, obviously, they've worked hard off. Ross and Sauce, that sounds so weird, have obviously made the judgment quite early on him, and they did get the job done. Can't wait to see him on the park. He'll definitely play at some point. And I think there's some excitement. I think this guy could be a smoky, because I think covered him in 2022 in the draft profiles. He was stiff. There's probably some people who are on lists probably weren't as good as him. So definitely going to take the opportunity. Jack Perris, obviously Nova's son, gold medalist, and you can see he's got champion written all over him. Incredibly quick around stoppages, got a great turn of pace, real direct running lanes as well, which is really important. He doesn't come backwards and coming forwards. I think he's going to put a bit of size on pre-season under his belt. Some guy that I'm really going to be keeping an eye on. And we finished with another friend of the Pommy and Oz channel. Big fan of Ollie Houghton. Loved him in the draft. Just a goal fiend, a fiend. So I'm really excited about seeing him. But keep an eye when he returns to injury, because he is going to tear it up. And he is A grade. And thinking of him and Philippou together, dangerous. But that is the St Kilda 22. Let me know in the comments what you think. Enjoy yourself. Become a member. Remember, 4th of March, 3 days' time. And see you next time.